Oh, it's Xfinity. Never mind. Commercials. Can I hear the sound of my own voice? Yep, I can hear the sound of my own voice. Alright. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Master Monster. And I wanted to throw out a little, like, tutorial, kind of, overview, kind of Darwin's project. Is in early access on Xbox One. And on PC, I think you can get it on Steam for like $5. Um, so yeah, Darwin Project is a 10-person battle royale pseudo survival. I say pseudo because I think I'm using that word right. It's got like you gotta keep warm basically. That is like the survival element. It doesn't have like food or anything, but it has a cold meter that you'll have to keep track of. And it's a very interesting game. Now I'm gonna go over what I can in the menus and kind of go into in depth about the equipment and stuff, and then I'll throw myself into a match as a survivor and then as a director. Um, it's worth mentioning that if you find out you don't like playing the game as a survivor, but you find the director gameplay worth playing, you will have to hit level 5 in the survivor, which won't take you that long at all. Less than an hour, maybe an hour. Games go by fairly quick if there's a lot of people playing, if it's the right time of day. You drop in, you can kill 10 people and win pretty quickly. But you have to understand the mechanics of the game, and I'm gonna try to help you kind of just determine what play style you like to go for, and what works best when. And they've just recently added a new power-up ability that you can use getting the electronics, but we'll go into that, I think, in-game. We'll go a little bit more in depth about that. So, the main three things you harvest or the main two things you harvest are wood and leather, which are represented by trees and armchairs in the world. Everyone will have the same armored and same fire. They haven't added options for that. Although I wouldn't put past them to have different types of armor and stuff. So as you can see here, you can change out your arrow type. This is a standard arrow. You'll have 5, but they do nothing special. And these all cost 1 wood to make. Hunter arrow will give you 5 seconds of tracking on your target. Now this is really good for dense foliage areas. It can be easy to lose your target. There's a lot of trees that's basic white trees that you can run into. You can run into bushes too, but bushes kind of give away that you're in there. But still, the bushes can be kind of big and allow you to shoot them while they're inside that. And it'll just allow you, if they run behind a tree, let them see if they're just standing back there waiting for you to charge them, or if they're actually trying to craft something back there, like an arrow. Maybe they ran out and they don't feel like running 20 yards behind you because there wasn't a backboard for them to catch the shot, so they just missed at you. So hunters are very useful. Fire arrows do 50 extra damage, and they are not worth it. And when you're starting off the game, do not use fire arrows. Um, while you do get extra damage, basically every shot you hit, you're headshotting. It's much harder to land these arrows. I see people shoot shots at me that they would have hit, but I can literally see myself running out of the way because of the 50% arrow speed. It's a huge bummer. And the range on these things, the other arrows, those will fly straight forever. All right, they have no, as far as I know, I haven't checked, but they basically have no drop. They're like a Hanzo arrow. You put the fire arrow on, and once it hits 40 meters, that arrow no longer goes straight. It'll drop like a tank, or like a light tank. How about let's go with that. I've seen new players go and use the fire arrows because hey, more damage, right? And I've seen them miss shots time and time again because they're way too far away to use them. That being said, if you like getting close to personal and you don't like using the bow so much, you might want to take flame arrows. If you can hit a headshot, if you can hit headshots with them, I mean, to be fair, if you can hit headshots with the flame arrows, you should probably just be using the normal bow if you're aiming that good. And your arrows, are also really good. Honestly, if you're gonna go with an arrow type, I'd stay away from the flame arrows and stick with hunter arrows or normal arrows. I use berserker arrows personally. Up until a little bit ago, I was using them at least. I switched out normal arrows because I wanted to keep my farm up. Because obviously, starting with 5 arrows means you don't have to put 5 wood into your arrows in the beginning. And the berserker arrows are good for just if you want, you can do hit and run tactics basically. Peg an arrow into either a nearby deer and then have a limited sprint to like either run to that deer. That's something I think people don't think about. It also will refill your sprint meter, so if you're in the red or you're really low, you just like used up almost all your sprint and you turn around and shoot someone with the arrow. Jumping this game takes away so much stamina, but if you get like a berserker arrow off, you can normally only jump 3 times before you're exhausted. It takes a third of your bar, and it's very important that you have sprint your stamina up. If you run out of stamina in a fight, you could easily lose the fight because you're moving slower and stuff. And this will allow you to jump freely in combat without using up your sprint. While I mention it right here, please do not, as a survivor, no, just in combat in general, just try not to jump unless you have to. Jumping at someone is kind of alright, but unless, like, if you're just jumping to avoid arrows, you're just gonna make yourself an easier target. Anyone with half a dixel of aim can predict where you're jumping. There's no way to change your trajectory while you're jumping. So unless they're using like, fire arrows, you're not gonna really evade much. There is a possibility to jump out of the arrow path, but unless you're running straight at someone, and even if you were, they probably were aiming more chest level than feet level, and you probably would dodge it anyways. And the knockback that happens whenever you get hit with anything in this game means you go flying even further back, which means if they want to pelt you with more arrows, it's just bad. Try not to jump. Okay, let's move on to our traps here. First one we have is a 1 cost wood trap that will hold the player in place for 6 seconds. They can swing their axe. They can take out their bow. So it's best just to peg them with an arrow. And if you can line up the headshot, if you're not under pressure and it's just like a 1v1, try to hit them in the headshot. But they also do 100 damage to the player. Smoke bombs are awesome for just getting rid of footsteps. Now, footsteps, people will see your footsteps for a pretty long while. If you're running ninja boots, you can combine this with that. The uh, the smoke bomb is pretty good if you're just trying to like not be found. If you think someone's gonna just like you can just like sit in it, I guess. If you like lose someone's sight and you know there's crafting areas, you can just kind of sit in the smoke, and I don't think it will mark you. Um, I haven't tested that too much, but if someone puts a mark on you, you can throw it down instantly, and just like lose that mark, as well as the footprints that you run in the area will just disappear too. Useful. I'm not sure how I feel about the cost, but it is a very useful thing to have. You could use it in combat too. I mean, if someone's pelting you with tracker arrows, use it, get rid of those because they can help you lose the enemy a little bit and maybe get in so they're not looking directly at you. Cage trap's extremely useful as well. Unlike the bear trap, they'll hold the enemy in place for 20 seconds. And this turrets, the turret ability will shoot through them. You, however, cannot, and they will not be able to shoot out. They can swing their axe at the cage to break it before the 20 seconds, but I feel like a lot of people, some people didn't seem to figure that out. Also, if they're right on the edge of the cage or near it, you can go up and smack them, but likewise, if you're trying to go in for a hit, they can smack you back while trying to break the cage. If you want to get arrow shots on them, the only way you can do that is if you jump on the top. There's like a opening in the top, and you could shoot arrows into there at them, um, and that's how you can get arrow shots on them. But also, if they do shoot arrows at the cage, you can just like stand a little back and like move in to pick them up. If they try to do that, which don't do that. If you're in a cage, just try to smack it down, and probably stay away from the side that the player is on. If they have a turret down, um, try to get out as soon as possible. If there's a certain area in the trap you can stand and not get shot by the turret, recommend doing that. I'll try to show you in gameplay when I get to it. I'm just an overview. Um, Next we have tripwire. It's a basically a. Oh, by the way, all traps like the enemies can't see unless they walk up to it and can see like the thin outline, because there's like a thin gray outline they can see at a certain distance. Away from it, they have to be pretty close though, well, pretty much within melee range. So if you're looking not to get trapped and you feel like a player would just laid a trap, you can kind of slowly walk over to it if you can afford it. If you're in combat, then you just avoid the area. But the tripwire does no damage, and it will reveal an enemy for 30 seconds, which is a long time. Another good reason to have smoke bombs. If people are using tripwires, they can cover a huge area, and they'll extend, as you can see here, extend quite a large distance. You can use this on entrances to caves, tunnels, houses. These will go through walls as well. If you stand right next to a wall, it'll clip through, and you can use it that way. However, because it won't do damage, but it will trip the enemy. So what you can do when they're on the ground is you can melee hit them if you have one set up, and you can lure an enemy back into it. And when they trip and trigger it, not only will all enemies be aware of that, which is another thing you might want to be careful of in combat, is if all the enemies see the tripwired inmate and maybe want to go and seize that weak kill, you could potentially draw some unwanted attention. But they trip, you smack them, and you can get like an easy kill like that. The rigged chests, I think they're nice, but I can never get a kill off them. It reveals them for what, 60 seconds? Wow. Yeah, I think it's a 60. I hate the numbers when you can barely see the 6 and the 8. Um, I mean, I'm wearing glasses, but yeah, that's definitely a 6. Damn. So, these chests, I used to use them when I first started off. I don't use them anymore. Um, I think it's best if you find a house and you don't think that in like an area just got closed off naturally, and you don't think the drugs are just gonna start closing off zones, or a final zone location, like it's down to the final two zones. You want to put a chest here and a chest there in the last two zones near the center. It does. It's actually the highest trap damage you can get. It's got the longest mark duration as well. Um, you gotta be smart about these because there's certain chest spawns and people will know them. If you know chest spawns and you know an enemy doesn't or a chest didn't spawn there, you can place these in those chest spawns, and the enemy won't be able to know the difference unless they run a scanner. Um, Use it. I mean, this is a good thing to throw if you're like, oh, I just want traps and you want to potentially get a fucking free kill off that. I mean, 150 damage. That's an arrow shot, buds, and you only have 600 health. If someone's wounded from a fight and they escape something and they're looking for like armor or medkits in a chest, extremely tempting. Especially since chests can give you upgrades for free and electronics. But because the people who haven't really caught on to the rigged chests or really started use, the community doesn't use them. So I've never once triggered a rigged chest, and I don't know if you can tell, I'm level 18, level 23 director. I've never seen people use rigged chests as a director. I've seen people have them equipped. I think I've seen them put down once or twice. Never seen anyone actually trigger one. Um, so we'll go on to the snowballs. Snowballs are a free range weapon that are extremely weird to use. You have to press the D-pad button that you have corresponding to where you have it equipped, and you'll do a short animation and throw a snowball. I'd combine these with berserker arrows just because you do stand still slightly for like a few seconds, like to bend down and throw the snowball, or like to wind up and throw the snowball. Um, they're great for like free range weapons that you don't have to waste materials for. Um, they're great for that. You can use them to put out your campfires, which means you don't have a constant smoke signal telling people where you last were warming up. You can also use them to put down out at other enemies' campfires if they're in danger of freezing to death, and they do that strategy where you keep only one wood on you, so you can make that emergency campfire. If you can hit a snowball on their campfire, you'll bone them out of a warm toasty victory and possibly make them freeze to death. They also freeze the enemy to death. 20%. I think you get 100%. So you hit them with two of these, assuming they weren't top maxed out when you started, and you'll be pretty set. And then the gliders is just super meta right now. If you don't have a glider, you should have at least teleport or something. I don't run any movement-based powers, but gliders are just great for getting away from like everyone. Combine it with super jump, go to the top of a mountain. You will gain a little height off the glider when you first use it, um, but then you'll slowly start to, fall down. So I recommend you jump and then use the glider or go find some high place. But even if you're not at high elevation, you can still use it to get away from enemies pretty well. Especially if you're really high up in the air, they really can't. And they could track you, but if they have nothing to get a like a clue, if they haven't actually tracked you, if they're just trying to do it by eye, you're not going to be walking on the ground, leaving footprints behind. So it's really good for escaping, assuming you can. You might want to do a little like air hijinks, but like go one way and then turn the other when you think they lost you, if you think you can afford it. But it's great if for traveling and not really being detected. It's not like it has bells and chimes on it and it says, "Hey, everybody, I'm here." It's a silent way to move around the map where no one hopefully should be looking if you jumped high enough or went behind its location. I've actually used it to sneak up on someone. I just didn't hit the melee. Alright, let's go on to powers. I'll talk about the old ones before I talk about the new ones. Radars will reveal players, right? Yeah, players and clues. Oh god. Um, so yeah, players and clues. The clues are already outlined, but if you're like me and you're playing smart, you hide all your crafting in a giant tree. Um, and so unless you're following my footprints to that tree, you will not find my crafting stuff just lying around in the open, unless I really needed to get like an electronic off and then ditch the area. Um, Detector does the same things, detects except for resources and traps. Right? Yeah, traps, black deers. Okay, basically loot. It finds you loot sources. This has a huge radius, 150 meters. Actually, that's 150 meters too. Duration 10, duration 15. Yeah. And the cooldown on this is 45 seconds as well. This is great for finding chests. People will say, "Oh, well, I get it late game. I was playing with a duo partner." And he's like, "Oh, you're getting detector now?" It was like second. It wasn't a second power. And I was like, "Yeah." And I went on to find 3 chests that had armor, I don't know, a free upgrade for like my damage axe. It's crazy. Like, roll with this. If you do not want to end up a victim of bear trap central, because if you play with me, you're going to find that the final circle is going to be a clusterfuck of bear traps, cage traps, and traps. I trap up the final circle, and it wins me games half the time I'm able to set up. The other half, I just, you can't win them all. But when the enemy has to constantly worry about traps on the ground, if you don't want to have to worry about traps on the ground or trap chests for that matter, use detector. Camo is good-ish. By all means, I do not use this combatively because you are somewhat. Yeah, it will remove any marks on you. If someone's revealed you, you can use it to shake off and make the thing disappear. Assuming it doesn't last 15 seconds, I would not pop this on like a tripwire or a trap chest, because we already looked at those and those last 30 and 60 seconds. But if someone's just investigated a clue, unless they have full detective cloak, you use camo so they can't see you. You can also use it. How I use it is I throw it on when I go into a tree, and then I will go mid combat and try to loot corpses, because people are when you camo, people expect you to come at them and surprise them, and it can work like that. You can use it aggressively, but I like to use it when there's like battling going on and like I want to loot something. Maybe 2 people are fighting and there's another dead corpse there. I'll use it to loot. I'll use it. In this case, I'm trying to use it to set up a turret or an ice freeze, which we'll get into that later. The energy shield might sound like a good idea, but it's honestly trash in a lot of situations, especially final circle, the final close where the circle closes in to like half of in the center. I don't think it's necessarily the center every single time. I think it varies on where in the center it is, but the circle will close on some middle portion of the last circle. This is trash. Do not use it in that situation. You can take it otherwise, but it like almost doubles or more the knockback you receive from anything. The only thing I'd really recommend using it is if they have a turret, then there's no knockback, I don't think, from the turret. So you can observe turret shots and you can walk through traps while destroying them. And this is the only two situations I really use this in, unless you're using a mobile arena, which is somewhat small and you won't go flying necessarily out of bounds. Hell, if they try to bat you up against the wall of your arena, you can just beat them instantly back. Because if you didn't go flying away from them and you're standing right next to them when they hit you, you can just retaliate instantly against them, and without taking damage. But so either use this with an arena or use this knowing that there's trapped in the area that might be trapped. You can use it and then just run in a house, or run at someone. Just be careful not to get knocked into the cold, because it doesn't prevent cold damage. Power leap is a straightforward jump. You press it, you'll jump. You can use it to escape bear traps. What is it? You can escape tripwires. Like if you got knocked, we're gonna get fallen down on the ground. If you're falling into lava, you can press the power leap to not fall in lava. You can use it after you get hit. It's a great mobility thing when combined with a glider. You power leap and then you can fly around to further adjust because you're where you land. Because once you have a little bit of control of your power leap, but not too much. It's definitely better than just normal jumping, at least as far as the control is concerned. The mobile arena, which I've seen a little bit more people use recently in my director games, not so much in my player games, is great for duos or when you want to actually 1v1 someone and you don't want the other three people near you running in and trying to get that kill. That being said, it lasts 30 seconds, which is actually a fair amount of time. But considering how much you can run back and forth missing each other, or just like clanking off each other, it could seem a little bit short. I think they should buff the duration. But under 5 seconds, I also feel like they needed to buff it so where you could actually close the arena at any time, with maybe a cooldown reduction of time remaining. That way, because I've accidentally popped my arena. I've seen other players while I'm directing pop this arena, and then they're just sitting in the arena like, well, I'm here. I'm just, waiting. Alright, the turret, which is by far the most commonly used and misused item in the game, which is why I'm going in depth with all of these. It's a turret. You stop. Yeah. Crouch on the ground like you're crafting something, and it goes down in front of you. Alright, so we're going to talk about a few buffs and nerfs. I think they need to readjust the turret. But, one thing I will say, do not stop, literally, in the middle of combat trying to put this thing down. One or two things happen. You get hit with an arrow, and you don't get to put it down. You get hit with an axe swing, and you put it down, and then both the turret and you blow up. Or you put it down, and it just gets destroyed by an arrow. There are the rare chances you put it up, but the lock-on time is fairly long. It's really something you can put down in prep or when you're not being focused on. If no one's really noticed you, you go behind in a bush, and you set it up in a bush. You do something like that. It's not something you back up from someone and then place down. You don't do that when you're trying to craft stuff. You go behind a tree or something. But that being said, if you go behind a wall and put it behind a wall, it's alright, but they're gonna know that turret's there. The turret will try to shoot at them, even if it doesn't have direct line of sight. It'll lock on them through the wall. This is both a benefit, but mainly a hindrance. If it locks them through the wall and they come around the wall as it's firing one of its 3-round burst shots, you'll deal some damage. But when it shoots at the person, it outlines itself in red for a short time while it's shooting, and then it'll stop, lock on, outline itself as red, and shoot again. So putting it behind a wall is kind of problematic because they can see exactly where the turret is. They can take their time aiming at it, and they don't even have to engage on it. I mean, assuming the wall is fairly big. If it's, they can take their time. They can kind of wait on the wall, final circle and stuff like that. Like, I've had someone put it behind a wall in a final circle, and I just didn't go over there until, I had an opportunity. Waited for the burst, popped it, didn't get dealt any damage by the player, didn't get any damage dealt by the turret. Simple as that. So just a lot of turret misuse. Be careful how you use these. As I mentioned before, they will shoot through cages. So if you can get someone in a cage and then lay the turret down next to that cage, golden. A little cheap, but then again, they are the ones who ran into your cage, and you happen to have a turret on you. Um, let's not talk about Ice Bolt. Teleport is the is a useful it's like a controlled power leap, and I think it'll take you farther than power leap. It does 100 meters, but this gives you 30 meters in the air. I think that's 30 meters in the air. Teleport can be used with glider as well. It's it's a little bit more silent. Everyone can hear and know when you're power leaping. Teleporter has like a little like electronic like zip sound or something. I don't know how to describe it exactly. But you can teleport a fairly long range distance. I feel like power leap should have like slightly less cooldown, but it's solid. It's a solid choice. I've seen people. You can combine teleport or power leap with arena, and you can actually make a dome in the sky. I've only seen one person do this, and it's actually a pretty good strategy. If on like a final circle you want to just craft some stuff in like the 30 seconds you get with your arena. Any turrets placed on or in the arena, if it's not really connected to a solid ground, will get blown up. So be careful about that. You can't jump up in the air, place a turret in the arena, and have a floating turret in the arena. All right, and we'll go and then we'll talk about the ice bolt now. The ice bolt is a instant projectile. I think it's pretty much like an arrow shot. It'll go pretty fast. But wherever you're aiming, as soon as you press the button, the ice bolt goes, and then you freeze them in place. You can then hit them with an arrow, and builds up their freeze meter. It causes the cold meter to deplete. Now, I don't know exactly why it doesn't have a percentage like the snowballs, but if you really want to go for freezing them out, like I'm doing here, you run the ice bolt with snowballs, you hit them on the ice bolt, you throw a snowball at them, and then they're probably looking pretty cold after you hit them with that combo. And then you can pretty much lay on the pressure. Whenever anyone's cold, all you need to do is carefully lay on pressure on them and make sure they don't get a chance to build a fire. Or, do the equivalent of drinking a coffee, but that's just actually a great bumper. But even that, takes a little bit of effort and distraction from combat to do. But that's what I'm running right now. Let's go over the boots. I know this is getting really fucking long. I'm gonna try to get some of these up. These are all pretty basic. The abilities and the tools had a lot of nuance to it. These not so much. Hunter boots are faster than speed boots only when you have a clue on someone. That being said, maxed out hunter boots will make you instantly fast. It's just in the final circle they become less of a use because you're probably not going to get too many clues in the final circle. Usually you're just fighting the person. Ninja boots are really nice, considering you can cut your duration by was it 80, almost 80%. The footprints last quite a long time. Now if you kind of weird following someone's footprints, but it's definitely a good way to tell if someone's been there recently. And this will basically kind of just, if you run off, with your ninja boots and you run off and someone's trying to follow you or someone walks in the area after you, they might be able to see your clues and shit, but they won't see what direction you ran off. And if you combine it with smoke pellets or maybe, anything really. But if they go chasing after say they find a clue at the place where your footprints didn't show up and they went going your direction, so eventually they wouldn't have a clue on you. All right. So they'd have to follow footprints, and if you had this upgrade high enough, they wouldn't be able to actually track you down. Players trying to be aggressive, especially if you were at low health or something, because you can see their health bar when you get a clue on them or whatever. And and if someone sees your low health, they will probably chase after you and kill you. I did it to the one guy earlier today in a game I won this morning. Speed boots are just straight up 5 movement speed. They're not the 4 that you get from this. They're not the 3 that you get from this. That being said, like I said, speed bonus, you do get a lot more from the hunter boots while you are doing that. But speed boots are a solid choice. I'd recommend sticking with the speed boots unless you really don't want, you really like, picking up clues and stuff. The evader boots, I think, are they the same as the hunter, or are they faster? 3, 4, 3, 4. Alright, so yeah, the evader boots are the exact opposite, same speed of the hunter boots. Basically, if you if people are running hunter boots or something, which I don't see too many people running them, I mainly see speed and ninjas. But there's something wrong with the other two. The evader boots are just something to put the speed boots and the hunter boots to shame. Ninja boots by far have the least amount of speed, but I think their benefits a little bit stronger felt, considering its constant effect, and these require someone to be actually tracking you to get the speed boost. But it's not bad. I mean, if someone's actually trying to hunt you down, like, I mean, there's been times where I've been like, well, someone just, I know where I craft my stuff and I know where I harvest my stuff. I keep it mentally logged as I'm playing a game. And when someone tracks me, and it's not like a director power or anything, I know like relatively where they could be at because I've been in an area and in a general area for the last 5 minutes gathering resources. So it's like, okay, so they're probably somewhere back in there, and I'm like X location away. Um, so like if someone tracks you and you know they're back there, you could use it to get out there even faster. Like I said, both these boots outshine both these boots, but they're limited to being hunted and hunting. Um, I don't know. But yeah, these two boots, stick with the speed boots overall, but if you want ninja boots, go with them. Um, if you want to go with like a hunter loadout, or you want to track players down and be aggressive, you can go with the hunter gear. Speaking of hunter gear, let's go to the cloaks. The fur cloaks are solid overall. You can get nearly a 90. I think it's like you get like a 95 reduction or something, or like 80. You can get a high cold resistance from just the cold cloak. These are all 2 wood, 1 leather cloaks. So if you're looking for just straight up cold resistance, this is your go-to cloak. Um, the detective cloak is what you'd probably want to run with the detective boots, unless you just want speed boots for constant move speed, which is nothing wrong with that. It gives your track duration plus 15%, so by the time you're done with that, you'd be looking at, what is it? Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, you'd probably increase your track duration, and if you're using the track traps too, that'd increase those too, I believe. Right, wait, bundle would be the coolest. Oh, okay, no, it's specifically tracking from clues. Never mind. Oh, decrease the tripwires and stuff too, but I think that'd be a little bit overpowered with a maxed out detective cloak. They'd have a straight up like 2 minutes on them if they hit a chest. The runner cloaks for more stamina. The fur cloak and the runner cloak is what I see the most of, just because, like I said, stamina is really important in combat. So not running out of it's good. Now you do suffer, all these cloaks suffer the 9% loss in cold resistance. Um, but with just 2 of these on, you'll be far better off. Or 2 of any of these, you'll be far better off for not freezing. I highly recommend going with the boots first though, when you play a game, because movement speed will help you get to around faster, maybe get out of early combat situations that you're not ready for, and even chase down some enemies too. Um, Revenge Cloak hits you in the extra. This is, I don't know. I haven't really even looked at this before, but you track people that hit you. I guess if you got sniped, that would be great. Now, if it worked, I don't know if it would. Vader boots. It's tracking you. I guess you. No, this is when you pick up a clue. I really wish you could use that, the right click with the boots, and that way, if like someone shot you, could just like run at them like a speed demon. I think that'd be pretty fucking scary if you shot someone and they just. Brah. But so I don't. It's just tracking when someone hits you. I feel like this needs a time duration buff. I feel like because it's not that viable from what I've seen. But if you don't want to lose track of your target, or if you want to be able to, like I said, tracking is good if you can see what they're doing. If they're going to craft something, where they're running, where exactly they are. Like I said, dense foliage. There's a lot of tree areas, hills with trees they can run in. Um, Also, I've legitly just like pelted a dude from behind cover and didn't know where I was, shooting him from. So it can also help you find people who sniped you if they happen to hit a shot. I do have a I think my record arrow shot's 132 meters, which is actually a large distance. I shot from like the middle of the map, like ice cave. Someone landed in a bear trap, and I sniped him from like the ridge line, like the outer circle, like near the outer rims of that middle circle. And I use this for the longest time here. The reduce the clue duration. And it's only clue duration. These are very specific cloaks. It doesn't reduce general tracking, so you'll still have to watch out for tripwires and cage traps and the such. They'll still do the same amount. Um, so I guess they're just trying to keep those viable and separate, which I guess is a smart idea. I feel like some of these cloaks do need buffs though. But you can half the amount of time a clue duration is on you, which if the person cluing you isn't running any sort of detective cloak on, they will be sorely disappointed to realize that the time it took them to do that clue is already up, and you only got to see the enemy for like what 3 seconds. Ghost Cloak's really good. Um, if you're gonna run a Ghost Cloak, I probably would recommend not running smoke bombs, just because if you plan on actually upgrading it up, you'll find the smoke bombs not very useful. And the axes by far are probably the most axes and arrows are by far the most determining of the playstyle outside of the power-ups. They all determine how you play, but these I think are like you know, in the center fold of all the builds. Almost everyone uses axe sharpener. Now it adds 25 axe damage. So you can deal up to I think 300 damage with your axe, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's like 300 or two something, 275. I think it's 275. I think that is it. You can hit 275. This is ridiculous to upgrade. Now you can find free upgrades in chests. So there is that to bear in mind. You could like just pick up. I think one match I picked up 3 chests and I got 3 axe sharpener upgrades. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll take that. So it is more damage with your axe, but if you're not good with swinging the axe, or there's situations where you're not going to be able to get in, it's less useful. Um, yeah. Lumberjack is really, really good. I started using it, and I'm just like, whoa, it makes a huge difference. Um, your farm game goes from like pilly shit, like once you get like 3 or 4 on this, even 2, it like starts making a huge difference. Um, it's just like you can harvest trees in like a second, and then maxed out, it's pretty much an instant mine on trees. A little bit longer for the leather, and then like, especially for having electronics, like diving in there, like electronics are one of the more riskier things to get because they do take a little while to get, and anyone can shoot an arrow at the tower and boop you off of it. And so that will help you with that. I run it on this because I like to go invisible and want to quickly loot bodies. You can loot deers faster. It's just amazing. That combined with the speed boost and the runner cloak means I could run in invisible, get loot a corpse and a deer or whatever, run it out, and then like just go somewhere and craft if I need to like craft more stuff. And the scavenger axe is also really good. It's something where I wouldn't upgrade from the start on like the lumberjack axe. Same thing with the axe trimmer. It's not something you really want to start off upgrading because it's so expensive and you're taking up the leather you need for your boots and the wood you need for your cloak and stuff. Mainly the leather though. You're just using it for an power up upgrade that isn't really going to help you survive like the conditions and get around and loot stuff faster. So it's not really that useful in that regard, but it will decimate your foes at level 4 and 5. Um, 1 and 2 is eh. Um, so yeah, the scavenger axe, 25 health for maximum of what 125 I think. Yeah, 125 health per looted corpse or deer. Which I don't know. This one's good, but I wouldn't. Like I said, I think I was trying to get to this point before I lost train of thought. I wouldn't upgrade this until you're sitting around, you have no med kit, and you're low on health. And you just survived a fight or something. That's when I'd upgrade this and start looking for deer corpse or just if things are chill, you've looked at a radar, no one's nearby, and there's a deer. You find a deer, and you're low on health. You just upgrade it and then shoot and kill the deer, and then loot it. That's how I play this axe. Now you can pick up upgrades along the way, or if you just have the extra resources, prematurely upgrade it. It's not a bad thing. But it is the only thing so far in that you can take with you that gives you HP. The only other way to get HP is to shoot deer for 50 HP, or get heals from the director, or find medkits either off players, deers, chests, or is there any other way to get medkits? I don't think there is. Yeah, chests, deers, and director heals. And I find director heals way more rare than actual medkits. And they're more useful though because they usually heal. Most directors, when they unlock the healing ability, they'll find the two energy, 2 action point heal for 300 HP before they find the 1 action point 150 HP heal. So yeah, that's that. That's a brief overview of everything. Armor protects you from 1 hit. Should be worth mentioning, the armor is freaking useless against turrets. It'll block the first 50 HP hit, and you'll still take 100 if you hit with the other 3 bursts. Armor won't shred with snowballs, and it won't shred with traps. I don't think. I don't think traps shred armor, because I'm pretty sure I've bear trapped someone and then smacked them, and just shredded their armor off that. But that's that. I'm gonna get into a game match